interrupts. I'm not sure why, but for some reason this specific clip has no sound. But what I'm basically doing here is I'm introducing Nigel, who's with us from the JEC, very kindly taking us into the train tunnel for HO19. And as you can see me pointing it out here. Don't know why the sound hasn't worked on this occasion, but at least we've got it sorted now. It does come back in the next clip though, just thought you should probably know that too. So let's go in. So we're going down this way, are we?
Yeah, we'll carry on.
What are those big black things coming out the ceiling?
The cables.
Okay, so they're the power cables that come over from France though?
No, these are our 33 kV cables going probably to Queen's Road.
Okay, that's quite cool. So these come all the way from Queen's Road?
Yes, they go from our power station to Queen's Road.
Wow, they're huge. I mean, look at the size of those.
Yeah.
Crumbling.
That's the water drying onto the outside.
It's just salts from the drippage.
That's insane. And they go all the way along here, do they?
Yeah.
Wow.
So those are 33,000 volt cables.
Right. And then the other side here, so they had more cables on it at one point.
Yeah. Those will be 11 kV.
And then there's 3 shelves there which aren't being used anymore.
Well, that's still a cable, but I don't know whether it's in use.
Right.
So they would have sort of upgraded the cables over the years.
I suppose, and depending on the size of the cable, it's not worth removing. It's easy just to leave it there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's cool. It's insane because this comes out onto the main road there, doesn't it? Because then there's another tunnel next door, isn't there? It's much more leaky this bit.
Yeah.
Dripping everywhere. That's quite cool though. So do you guys own this other bit of the tunnel next door as well, do you? Or?
I don't think so.
No, because I was going to say, because there's 2 sections to it.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because like this one goes all the way through to there, which was, I'm guessing this was a pedestrian one, was it? Because it's not tall enough to be a railway tunnel, I wouldn't think.
No.
So this would have been the pedestrian side, and then the railway one must be the one next door. Well, that's quite cool. So do you not really use the other entrance much?
No, it's just for our cables. We go well up to the centre and then we move it. Certainly not down this part.
Okay. And then what's...
Those are the, imagine we've got access to that. Okay, so the cables that you see are oil filled, so that's
Right.
showing the...
Oh, so that's what cools the... Okay, so those are what cool off the cables so they don't overheat with the amount of electricity going through them?
It insulates them and cools them,
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Wow, and then they're all labelled, so they're obviously for different ones, because I see 2 of them are labelled Kennervay and this one's labelled Queen's Road there. So that's quite cool. Hard to believe you've got wires coming all the way from Kennervay down here.
Well, they actually go from here to the Kennervay. Obviously, we have to get the power supply all around the island.
Yeah.
So it all started, well, originally it all started from here, then Queen's Road, and then here. So we distribute the power from here all around the island.
That's quite cool. So, and then the cables go from here, I take it they disappear off under the road and stuff. So I've just noticed if you come down here, you can see them all sinking into the floor. All at different points.
Yeah.
In fact, these ones come straight to the ceiling and disappear straight away.
Yes, I don't know whether they're coming from the station and going around the town, so they would go out and probably
So those might be going up into like Pier roadway.
That's right, yeah. And off down, down to Collect Flats and all around there.
Oh, okay, so they'll be going off into like St Helier and things that way, into the main part of town. So most of the shops in town and stuff are probably getting their electricity from these wires.
Yes.
Oh, that's quite. And you can even see like it's been there so long, they're getting stalactites.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll show you the view from the outside because this is. This is the entrance you've probably most likely seen, but not known what it was. Yeah, that's fine. I'll show you through the gates here. I'll go around the other side. I'll show you the other side afterwards. But that's the main entrance there. So this side, this was a pedestrian tunnel. There is another tunnel, bigger one next door. That was a railway tunnel, and it went all the way through to the other side. It's also got the adjoining HO20 tunnel on it. We don't have access to that as far as I'm aware. The only people who have access to it is Jersey War Tours who do tours in there. So that's quite cool there. So this is part of the HO19 tunnel. If I can get access to the other half, I'll do that for you as well. But we'll probably need to head back that way now. And what I might do actually on the way back is just show you some of the insides of the power station area, because I probably won't be able to see that again either. So, but it's stunning. Size of these cables. How come it suddenly gets?
No, that's a repair. So it's obviously been damaged this time. So it's a joint.
Oh, okay, so that's where they've cut a section out of the cable
And repaired it, yeah.
and then put a new section in. Oh, that's quite cool. That's impressive. And another one there, look. See, they're all colour coded as well, so it's like some of them have red lines or blue lines or whatever on them.
They're different phases of electricity, so we have red, yellow, blue.
Right.
So yeah, so that's the red, blue phase, that's the red phase. That one there's the yellow phase.
Okay. So there's different amounts of electricity going through each one?
It'll all flow the same, but
yeah.
Depending on how it's wired at the substations or the primaries, it'll have a different flow characteristic. Yeah, but it's all three-phase electricity.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because that's the thing with like the types of electricity as well, is it's all to do with like the different types of hertz and stuff, isn't it? Because that's what the difference like between ours and the like, say for instance, the American electricity. It's not so much the voltage that's an issue, it's the actual hertz. So when you have things that have a motor on it, it then buggers up how the motor works.
That's right, it varies the speed.
Yeah. So like for instance, the American record player will run too slowly over here and ours would run too fast over there. Yeah.
So that's a cross-sectional view of the cable. Okay, so that's the copper core there, you can see.
Right.
They've just used a couple of these.
So these would have just been cut-offs, but that's a really thick cable.
Yeah.
So that would be the main core there.
Yeah.
And then this bit here is...
That's your insulation.
And then you've got more there.
Well, yeah. I don't know whether that's asbestos or not.
That's quite cool. That it's clearly been here some time. There we go. Look at that.
Bang at some point.
So these these tend to go bang when they have a problem with them, do they? Or?
They can do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's an audible reminder that needs the repair.
Only, when was it? What day was it? Monday, we had a HV cable failure at a switch, and
right.
About 150 metres away, a gentleman said he heard a loud bang. So, while to find it.
Wow. That's quite a distance though, when you think the bang must have been quite large from to hear that 150 metres away when the wire. So see some, and again you can see them coming back out. So we're going to go back out this way. And you've got little red ones here, they're slightly smaller, aren't they?
Yeah.
I take it, are they red because they're live cables?
No, it was just the type of plastic that was used. These are much more modern cable. They're again at 11 kV. And maybe, you know, that would be a joint, because they'd run out of cable to that point, and then they put a joint in to carry on with the next roll of cable.
Okay. Yeah, because this one's snaking. It's kind of doing a little.
Yeah, that's right.
It's doing the kind of walk you have to do when you go to the post office. Is what it's doing. And you've got an old bracket up there that would have been holding something at some point.
And that looks fairly original, sinks it straight into the concrete.
Right, so just in the intro, we're going into the HO or section of the HO19 tunnel. I thought I'd explain exactly what we're doing, because the HO19 tunnel is essentially in two sections. You have the main tunnel and you have a separate railway tunnel where the Germans linked up the Eastern Railway to the Western Railway, or the JR&T line as you might know it as from the videos I've done before. So with some help from our friends at CIOS, I thought I'd use this to help you understand exactly what we're doing. So I'll put a link to their website, by the way, in the description for you, in case you want to get this, because it's also got about the HO tunnels and stuff. It's really quite interesting if you want to get hold of it, but you can only get hold of it through the CIOS website. So this is the main section. This is the main section of HO19. This section I hope to be able to explore for you guys at some point. It's owned by a different organisation to the Jersey Electricity, who own the railway tunnel, which is the bit we're going to be looking at. It's quite a short tunnel, so it's unusually short video too. But this grey section here that runs alongside the road here, where you see it says Mount Bingham, this thin grey line here, this is the train tunnel, and it ran through. It goes pretty much alongside the road, and then what it did is it followed what's now the cycle track alongside the beach there, and then it would connect up to the Eastern Railway line that was on the other side, because the Germans managed to accomplish pretty much what the guys couldn't back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the railways were still running. The tunnel entrance, you'll notice when I show you both, is narrower than the main entrance to the tunnel that you actually walk in. That's because the Germans actually put down a small narrow gauge track as compared to a standard gauge track. You'll also notice that in certain parts of the video I mentioned that the Germans were storing their generators in the tunnel. That's my mistake. I should have checked before I went, and one time I didn't do my research, it came a cropper. This section here of the HO19 tunnel, the main one, which we can't get into, that's where the generators would have been. So this was purely just a train tunnel. So with the explanation in place and some context for you as to what we're doing, we'll now cut back to what was filmed at the JEC. Yeah, that looks like that would have been a German bracket. Yeah. So the Germans planned to put their own generators in this tunnel to keep the cranes going, because they were worried that the generators that the JEC had at the time, which you said were in two separate places, weren't they?
Pier, yeah. Albert Pier and possibly Queen's Road.
So Albert Pier and possibly Queen's Road. So I'm guessing, and I'm surmising it'll be the Albert Pier ones they were concerned about, because they were worried about the shipping cranes. So the idea is that they could put generators in here. If the Albert Pier ones, the ones that were running, got bombed, they'd have some in here. The mistake they made is going and ordering them from the French, who they'd overtaken their country already and decided they weren't going to help the Germans. So when the generators arrived, they were actually completely full of sand. So the Germans had to hire people over here to completely disassemble them, clean them out, and then rebuild them.
When I first came here, they had in the station, we had a tank transporter, German tank transporter.
Right.
Bloody right, solid rubber wheels.
God.
Not sure if we didn't give it sound power or we just dumped it.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff at the Steam Museum now, isn't that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
But he hasn't been open for the last few years, has he?
I don't know, has he?
He reopened this year.
Right, we've left Nigel, we're at roadside, as you can see. This is the other end, on the outside, the tunnel we were in with him. Here, you can see it's kind of cut in on an angle. If I come back out of it, you'll be able to see that. See, it's on an angle there. So that's what we've been doing. We were looking in there. Now, there is a second part to the HO19 tunnel. What I'm also noticing, as I'm stood here, is if you look, there's a mark there, clearly been chiselled in. I don't know if that was where they maybe had an electrical pipe or something going along the side of the rock there. But didn't actually know that was there. Right, so the second part of HO19, which I can't get into at the moment, I'm hoping to at some point, but I can't at the minute, is this section. This is the main part of the HO19 tunnel complex. This goes all the way through. It connects up with the other end, which it would be the HO20 tunnel. So hoping to get into here at some point, but it's owned by a different set of people, so we'll have to wait and see if that ever happens, but hopefully it will. We'll have to see. Right, so hopefully we'll be able to get into the other half of HO19. We'll see. But for the time being, that's the end of this video. Got a bit of a surprise video for you, the next one, because I didn't think we were be allowed to do it, but you'll see in the next one. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. But this has been quite, it's definitely up there with one of the most fun days I've had, well, since I started doing these videos. So I'll see you next time.